Hello, fellow Sexperts. I thought I would share a video with you, which is from the office hours of Noah Kagan. Noah Kagan is an eight-figure millionaire based in Austin, Texas. He's a natural marketer and is the founder of um, a company called AppSumo, which is basically like a Groupon but for software. Everybody who joins these office hours has an opportunity to ask him questions, so I'm not special in any way for asking him this. What I aim to do by sharing this with you is to showcase what are the things that entrepreneurs, that includes sexperts, basically don't spend enough on. And I will try to reflect on each of the things that he talks about, interrupt the video, and talk about how this is applicable to sexperts. So let's dive in. And before that, I must say, he calls me his ex-wife. I'm not. It's just a joke, internal joke, if you want to call it that way. Let's move on, though.
All right, Leah Spasova, my ex-wife. Ooh, interesting question. What are things entrepreneurs don't spend enough on that would actually help scale their business? The first three things that come to mind is their technology and software. I think people are too cheap, and even in our own company, it's anything wrong with an individual, but they don't invest. They're like, if you can buy a laptop that saves you literally a minute a day, times all the days you're alive, times all your work, it's like literally like the best investment you could do. So if you could actually go and invest in all the software instead of spending money, like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to spend money. It's like, well, don't spend, invest.
Okay, that's a very valid point. Software and hardware. People don't spend enough on these tools, and unfortunately, it damages their business. And I want to explain how that damages a sexpert's business. One of the things that I've noticed is that many sexperts don't use a CRM, which is client management or customer management tool. Like that is something that is so useful, and there are many even free tools. I use one that integrates well with Gmail because I use Gmail as my platform for my professional email. And you may be thinking, okay, well, what am I supposed to do with a CRM? Track your clients from the first step when someone approaches you, add them to a list on your CRM, then make sure that you flag them as you've sent them an invitation with your Calendly or whatever for your introductory session. Then move them on to they had session, they're reviewing the agreement or whatever you've sent them, they're in decision making moment or something. Put one step more if you need to check up on them, or put one when that's not the right fit and you just categorize them. The problem is that when sexperts don't do that, they miss on a lot of opportunity to connect with people and also follow the process. So what happens is you send the link to a client, a Calendly, because they expressed interest in having an introductory call. They don't make one, and you forget about them because guess what? Busy lives. So you miss on the potential of having a decent client work with you because you didn't have a process, you didn't have a tool to help you. The thing that he said about laptop, hell yes. I mean, my laptop, my previous laptop was 5 years old. Great laptop. I was attached. I didn't even want to move, but realistically, it was too slow. And since I bought this amazing machine that I'm working on right now and I splashed, I cannot say I regret spending the money that I did. How is that damaging? Well, it's damaging if you're doing a lot of work and you have to wait for 5 minutes for it to reboot or to open a program or something like this. This is time that is spent wastefully. And you can do better with this time by investing in hardware. Not to mention when, for instance, you're a content creator, there's so many tools. Like if you write blogs, invest in Grammarly. I have seen so many articles written poorly or with mistakes like grammar mistakes and spelling, and that just puts me off. I'm like, did they even know their grammar? So if you do that, or if you record videos for your YouTube channel or whatever, make sure that you spend on the right camera, on the right mic, etc., and present in good quality. Obviously, if you don't know how to use these or what to choose, there are people to advise you on, which leads to the second thing that Noah speaks about: coaches. Let's see it.
Number two is coaches. So who do you have around you that is helping you go to the next level? Because you're at this level. To get to this level, you can try to figure it out. You can maybe read a book, or you can have someone who's already done it, or someone who can give you feedback about how to get there with feedback. So I'd say number two is either get coach or feedback from the people around you on a regular basis. Your customers, your boss, your people under you. Get feedback to improve.
Great advice and opportunity to reflect when you ask for feedback. I would also highlight that realistically speaking, you can ask for certain feedback from your clients. That's great, and you should totally do it every freaking time that you have the opportunity to. But what you may be forgetting is that other sexperts and people that see things the way you do and go through the same experiences can give you really good feedback on how you can improve your processes, the technology you use, the methodology, the way you approach clients, what you've put on your website. You have no idea how much I've benefited from other sexperts' input on what I do and learning about what they do, how they do it, how it's different, etc. That's why I would say make sure that you join our Sexperts Business meetings, because these are your opportunity to say, well, I've considered doing packages for my services, but I don't know how to go about it. Does anybody have a reflection? Or, hey, I've made some packages. Can you guys advise me how I can improve them? And show it to the people in the group, and you can get really good insight and advice. Because realistically speaking, most of us did not go to business school before we became sexperts, right? We went and did psychology or um, spiritual and gender studies and whatever there is that led you to that path. It's very unlikely that you come from the business field, right? So that way, I would say always ask for feedback, ask for advice, and get coaches. If it wasn't for Paul Essery, my business mentor, he's a sales expert, honestly, I would be I would be so far back. And that's why I say, like Noah, invest in coaches, invest in business mentors, invest in getting support from a community, because this would help you scale your business. Let's see the third part.
I'd say the last thing in terms of what entrepreneurs honestly don't do enough is hiring. And a lot of this might be cliche, but this is going to sound crazy. To scale your business, you have to not do work. This is a very common phrase you hear at like higher levels. To scale the business, you don't do work. You're like, really? What the fuck is he talking about? But if you're doing the work, it means that you're not spending time on potentially higher level things. So if you can hire people or software to do that work, that is how you move up the scale of food and scale up of a business. Not food, but scale of a business.
Okay, this third point is also super valuable. Hire, outsource, make sure that you automate as much as possible from your processes and the work you do. When you don't do that, well, you end up spending a hell of a lot of time on low cost things that you can outsource. That also leaves you absolutely exhausted because you're trying to learn it all, and you're not going to be successful at doing your advertising yourself and your marketing yourselves and your YouTube video editing yourself, and you can't do it all. So for certain things, you need to hire professionals that would do this thing. It would take them twice or 5 times less time than it would for you. So you can actually concentrate on the things that you're really good at, that bring you good money, and you can pay these people to do that, even if they charge well for their service, right? So one of the examples I would give is I I studied graphic design, computer graphics. I studied video editing and all that jazz when I was in high school. So I can technically do that editing, and most of the time I do my own editing when it's just chop this, put this, and so forth. But I recognize that if I send this to my video editor, Billy, thank you so much every time, he does a miracle job, so much better than me, and much faster. So that's the thing. Like for certain things, you just need to consider, is this worth me investing time, or is it worth that I get a new client and I outsource this because I'm doing what I love, being with clients, helping people grow, making like X amount of bucks an hour, and I can get this much money to pay someone to do an automation or follow-ups or editing or anything that would take off work from your plate. Because think about it, if you're spending all of your time on low cost things, you're not doing the high cost things, and you stay poor, right? Okay, and benefit of talking to Noah, he always has a +1 advice to give. So let's dive in and hear the last thing that he suggests that we don't spend enough money on and should.
I'll throw a bonus one in there. I think almost every entrepreneur, including myself, including our company, we don't 10x what's already working, and we don't kill what's not working. Meaning, if ads are working, how much are you really spending on it? If influencer marketing is working, are you spending $100,000 a day? Yeah, I'm saying, like, if I think people are like, well, blog's working, I do one a week. If blogs are working, you should do one a day. And the other side of that coin is, what are you stopping? Because most people don't stop. They just don't stop.
I must admit, that one is my favorite piece of advice from Noah. Cut what doesn't work and 10x what works. Why is this important? Because a lot of the time we spend money and time on an effort, all the effort, on activities that don't convert. So what does that mean? You spend hours every day on arranging your posts for Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, and that doesn't convert, or you create a ton of content that again doesn't lead you clients. Because when you ask clients, where did you find me? They never say Facebook, or they never say Instagram, or they never say whatever you have been spending a lot of time on to keep going. And that is a problem in itself, because you end up again wasting so much for something that has zero good returns for you. If you can make social media work for you and people are coming and talking to you about their sex life and paying for your services and for your workshops and whatnot, great, 10x that. But if it doesn't, just as it doesn't for me, quit it. You can go and see Life's Experts social media like Instagram and Twitter, and you would see how rarely I post anything or even rehash anything, because it just doesn't convert. It's a waste of money for my business. So I've been looking at the things that work for me and thinking, how can I get this to grow? How can I improve it? How can I get more clients through the door with this activity? And I have found the sweet spots that work for me, and I have been hammering on them, and my business is doing way better because of it. Think about all of this that Noah shared in my comments and see how that applies to your business. I encourage you to always seek advice, seek resources, etc., and reach out to us, the Sexperts Business Community, because we have lots to give that will save you time, money, resources, etc. That is it from me. I hope you enjoyed this. Join us everywhere, and also check out whatever notes we've put below this video, because we may have something for you there, but I'm not sure it will be ready by the time I air this, and just check the notes. That's what I'm saying. All right, that's it. Thanks so much, folks. I hope you found Noah Kagan's advice useful. He's a millionaire for a reason, and my reflections also useful to see how that applies to you and your business. Get on being part of the community, and I'll see you around. Bye.